goodness. I run a little late and see the chat is having a blast. What do we have on tap today, Spags?
We're going to talk about some NFL news. Jerick McKinnon back to the Chiefs. David Johnson visiting with the Saints. And also, Terry McLaurin holding out. Does he deserve the bag? We'll talk about it. We're also going to hit Best Ball Mania 3. I'm a little under the weather. Got an upper respiratory infection, but I'm going to produce the show today. Get this draft live on the screen. And Pete, how could it possibly go wrong? We'll find out right after this intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Splash Play, the fantasy football podcast for every game under the sun. And once again, I'm Chris Spags, joined by your friend and mine, Pete Overzet. Pete, how are you feeling about your biceps? I think they look good. Everybody's been complimenting you on all the streams that I watch that you do, and I feel like tis the season to be suns out, guns out.
Yeah, I mean, I hate revealing this part of my streaming process, but I do like to get kind of a nice little set in before streams just to make sure I'm looking swole. So yeah, the secret's out. I do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. It's kind of like the modified thing that Herschel Walker used to do back in the day. What did he do? 2,000 push-ups and 2,000 sit-ups a day. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think that was what his general workout was. And it showed. I mean, he's still in great shape. I think he's like mid-50s, late 50s, and he looks as fantastic as ever.
He does. And Bullock says, I mean, I did do bench press yesterday at the gym before doing an underdog cardio club, and I immediately drafted Derrick Henry at 110. And I do attribute it to the testosterone, pumping through my veins.
If you want some testosterone pumping through your veins, much like Pete, make sure you hit the like button right now in this video. Also, subscribe to Pete's channel, subscribe to the Splash Play channel. Pete, I don't know if you saw, but the Splash Play channel got pretty live on Friday because I hopped on for 3 hours in a row streaming drafts, one of which was one of the worst drafts I've done all best ball season.
I did see that you were doing a super long stream. Mainly, I think there were references to it in the Discord. Give me the TLDR on what, wait, was this the margarita stream or was that 2 weeks ago?
It was the margarita stream. Yeah, it wasn't, I was doing pretty well with that part of it, but I did have a really bad second draft. I also brought a PowerPoint. Pete had our graphic design team over at Football Outsiders give us a PowerPoint so we can go slide by slide once I figure out actually to get the bullet points to animate on the screen. That's the tough part. But yeah, opened with the PowerPoint, did 3 drafts in a row, and I feel like just quite frankly provided a lot of value to the community.
Yeah, well, it's great. Is your idea to get more drunk and add a draft each stream? Is this like a progressive thing? So by the end of the summer, you're going to be blackout doing 10 drafts in a row?
Well, I did talk about, I wouldn't mind doing a 24-hour stream at some point just for A, the attention, and B, because I couldn't fill that puppy. And we talked about a little bit on the show. I was jamming puppy drafts about as hard as anybody I know. I know our pal Eagles drafted, I think, all of his teams. And it's about the only person, Pete, that I'm aware of who got all 150 in. And I feel like it's impossible to do. Like, this went so fast, and I was multi-tabling, doing as many as I could. And I still think only finished with 110 entries in total in the puppy.
Yeah, the chat confirming that you did botch the 101 in the middle draft. What you said you got to 101?
Yeah, I got to 110, I think, overall. Actually,
what I mean, I would have bet on you to max it. I thought you were pretty determined to max it. Were you tempted to just like jam 40 slow drafts in before they turn that off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't, honestly. I don't want to do slow drafts. I don't want to get notifications all year long or not get notifications and miss the pick somehow. And that's certainly a possibility. I did. We don't talk about it on Pete's channel, but I did a little DK best ball draft and missed notifications completely, taking care of Luca because I'm technically on paternity leave right now doing the lion's share, trying to do the lion's share of baby care while Alex goes back to work. And yeah, DK's system is not the best, Pete. And I think overall, like, the notifications, you got to get those on time. And if you miss one, it can really ruin everything.
Do they even have a draft board?
I don't know. I was actually looking at the laptop version because I may do some on a Friday just to, quite frankly, get myself more motivation to get all 150 in on DK, $5 for $1 million on there. And also because, like, I would like to save some best ball mania drafts because otherwise I'm just going to be addictively doing those all the time. And I can't be doing that.
Yeah. How many BBM3s are you up to?
I am at 71 BBM3s and 109 puppy drafts in the puppy one.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I had the realization this morning too. Like, I'm going to really have to start to crank it up. I was doing like one every couple of days, and now I'm like looking at the calendar and I need to be doing at least one a day now to be on pace to max this thing out.
But you don't usually multi-table, right? Like, you won't do 2 at a time?
Well, here's the thing. I haven't I'm either streaming or kind of like doing them on my phone in other places, but I do think there will become a point this summer where I'll probably want to just like sit down at my desk without the chat, without the bright lights, without SPAGs bothering me, and just multi-table a couple.
The dark alleyway of drafting. I like to do multi-tabling because then I'm trying to correlate the two drafts together. So it's like, oh, I missed Mike Evans in this one. I'll get him in the second one. Oh, I took Mike Evans in this one. I'll take Russell Gage or Chris Godwin in the other one. And it feels like a fully fleshed out portfolio, even though Pete, I don't know if you've done the research. I presume doing two drafts at once probably doesn't matter at all or help.
Yeah, I don't know how they would splice that data out. You'd have to like voluntarily, have an opt-in clause. I am multi-tabling during this draft. I mean, it certainly can't be a positive. Maybe it's neutral if you're really good. I also would like to, the more drafts you do, the more comfortable you get, right?
Mhm.
So I think I'd like to, back load my multi-tabling for when I already feel pretty comfortable, but come August, I mean, we're going to be able to see these draft boards, in our sleep. So I think that's the time to really multi-table. Josh asking, do you ever slow draft the BBM? I'm actually scaling back my slow drafts this year, which is probably why I'm not on as good of a clip. I'm in a couple. I normally have one or two slow drafts going, but similar to Spags, I'm not worried about the occasional timeout, but I just don't want it in a ton of them and happening like over and over. So I like having one or two going on. You do see some weird quirks where, ADP and news doesn't just quite, I don't know. There's this weird thing where sometimes it doesn't trickle over into the slow drafts as quickly. So I don't know. I still like using that as a way to get a couple extra drafts in, but I am mostly converted to a fast draft bro this year.
Yeah, I like getting that 45 1 hour draft. We're going to hit, of course, Best Ball Mania 3 coming up in a second on the stream. But first, some NFL news, Pete, we should touch on. Jerick McKinnon returning to the Chiefs on a 1-year deal after he was their primary back down the stretch last season. Actually looked pretty good, finally paying off after the big contract from the Niners didn't quite work out for that role. Goes to the Chiefs, ends up looking good and giving him a shot in the playoffs. But the spot, Pete, another crowded room. We've talked about that wide receiver room for the Chiefs. Just a lot of guys you can make the case for. MVS bubbling up recently due to the Athletic article. Sky Moore bubbling up after the draft. People excited for him. But McKinnon probably should be getting drafted, right? Like he's going, I assume, in the 18th round right now, and feels like he's worth taking a flyer on.
Yeah, I was big in on Jerick McKinnon, especially in the early drafts. I even did a bet with Chris G, and he was like, "Why do you keep drafting McKinnon?" I ended up saying he could pick any running back after his ADP to do a points bet straight up. My thesis was, he has the trappings to be this year's Leonard Fournette, a guy who's on a good offense that crushes in the playoffs and then basically goes overlooked just because people assume, they can't sustain it or they'll bring in more people to usurp them. So, yeah, I mean, people are drafting Ronald Jones. They're drafting, and now I think they're going to draft Jerick McKinnon because no one wants to bet on CEH. Like everyone feels so burned by him. They know that a competent back can overtake this. And this is exactly what Jerick McKinnon did last year. He overtook CH in this backfield. So yeah, I had cooled on my exposures in BBM just because he hadn't signed yet. But now that he signed, I definitely want to start mixing him back in. And I don't know where his ADP will settle, probably around the Darrell Williams range would be my guess of where he's kind of going. And yeah, I'm definitely interested in Jerick.
Interesting question from Matt, too. Is Jet worse for CEH or Rojo? I would think he's probably worse for CEH because the assumption was that CEH could at least have that pass catching role, whereas Ronald Jones maybe more of the salt in the game away. They have a lead. Let's run out some clock back. I don't think it's great for CEH, but I think, it's really not great for either guy just because McKinnon is so versatile and I think can do a lot if they actually do want to get him on the field.
Yeah, I agree. Probably, the thing was they were I guess they have Derek Gore, but it did seem like they were always going to sign someone. And, the thesis was they'll probably bring back one of Darrell Williams or Jerick McKinnon. They let Darrell Williams walk and they bring back McKinnon. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a slight ding to CEH, but I feel like Rojo's role is kind of, established. But when you think about the way things go of like Rojo and CEH have a pretty long history of making boneheaded mistakes or getting benched, for either not performing or fumbles or bad pass protection. Like we know Jerick McKinnon is kind of now that savvy veteran that they trusted deep in that playoff run. And so, yeah, I think he's a guy we should be making bets on in this offense.
Yeah, they also took Isaiah Pacheco late in the draft. So just a lot of bodies in that room. We'll see how it looks in training camp, obviously, as we get closer to that time period. Terry McLaurin holding out 1-10 mandatory minicamp. And Pete, I'm just going to ask you the question faster. Of course, we got to jump to the Best Ball Mania 3 draft. But should Terry McLaurin get paid? Like, the main memory of me for last season was just him being 8K on DraftKings over and over again, never paying off. Nobody played him. There was no spike week that came during that period of him being at 5% ownership and actually being good. And granted, it is an XFL level QB last year with Taylor Heineke, not the best team situation. But I don't think McLaurin should get paid if Debo's not getting paid. And if DK Metcalf's not getting paid, like, to me, he's number 3 on that list. And it's like a tough decision point if you're Washington. Like, would you pay Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin feels like the guy that, you're lining up to get into the club and the bouncer's letting the people in front of you. And it's like, all right, Stephon Diggs, come on through. Devontae Adams, come on through. Tyreek Hill, all these guys with the new contracts. And then Terry McLaurin's trying to sneak in and he's like, wait, puts the velvet rope back up. Like, yeah, I don't blame Terry McLaurin and his agent wanting to cash in on the summer of wide receiver, but I do think it's probably safe to say he is not in that echelon as far as what he provides as like a superstar wide receiver. He is very good. But I don't know. I do think there's a kind of a tier break there. And I don't know the details of his current contract situation or exactly what he's asking for, but yeah, I don't blame them for trying to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, I get if you're watching why you might pay him just because you want to have some talent in that building, especially on offense where there just isn't a bunch. But yeah, I personally be less inclined to pay him. I think he's number 3 on that list of guys that are looking for a deal with Debo, DK Metcalf. Mad Sox wants him traded to the Packers. Maybe that's honestly a possibility. There could be some weird trade that comes out of left field at this point with all these guys looking for money. David Johnson visiting the Saints, Pete, maybe close to a deal. I think depends on some of the different tweets that are out there. But should the 30-year-old back, if he does get picked up by the Saints, get drafted, Pete? Because you were talking on Best Ball Breakfast this morning, you need to take more Mark Ingram. And it does feel like, maybe David Johnson being in there could be something that actually has value if they were to cut Ingram, who's I think also on a deal that ends this year.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really get excited about either Mark Ingram or David Johnson at this stage of their career, but man, it is a spot that I think you want to be taking stabs on. I do worry if David Johnson signs, if it's like Kamara goes out and then they just use Ingram and David Johnson kind of in a 50-50 split, David Johnson coming in on passing downs, Mark Ingram early down, and maybe they're both so dusty as far as not giving you explosive plays that maybe there's not a ton of value there. But I do think David Johnson would naturally kind of have to move ahead of Mark Ingram as the most intriguing handcuff to Kamara. So yeah, I think it's something worth paying attention to.
Yeah, some more versatility for Johnson, where maybe he could take a little bit more of Kamara's pass game work, which could be interesting. But definitely a player, if he signs, I think you can invest an 18th round pick in him in a best ball draft, but you're probably not feeling the most confident about that one. But it's time, Pete, to hop into a Best Ball Mania 3 draft. For all this puppy drafting, do you feel ready to hop back into the big leagues, I would say, and with me producing nonetheless?
Yeah, this is a huge development. Spags let me know here that he has learned how to size a browser window. Can you explain, because I still do not understand what was the issue before? Like, now you're successfully doing it nice and big as I would have hoped. What changed?
So I didn't realize that you had to actually shrink the width of the window. Like, I was going.
Oh my God! Are you kidding? How many times did I say that?
I think you said it a few.
God, I am so mad. I was hoping it'd be something more technical that I couldn't be upset at you, but you didn't think to adjust the window as I told you to do a million times.
But I mean, look at this window now. I mean, can you argue that this is a perfectly sized window?
This is insane.
Yeah, see, look there. Taking up every possible centimeter of screen real estate here on the camera.
I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, how many ways can I describe adjusting a browser window?
Well, Pete, are we ready to hop in this one? I feel like we should give people the clock. All right, I'm hitting enter now. Best Ball Mania 3. We're going in. Hopefully you guys timed it out correctly. And if not, we're putting some entries out there in Best Ball Mania. Of course, Underdog Cardio Club going on, Pete. And it's funny now, I'm getting tagged in literally all these Underdog Cardio Club things where it's you pushing it and I'm just riding your coattails to get tagged at other people's fitness gains. Yeah,
I'm surprised you haven't started your spin-off Spags Bench Club, just you and your bros, the Heavy Plate Club. With babies on your lap, doing curls, it seems like a thing you could start.
I actually am sick today, and I did push through a workout just because I don't want to not keep working out, because I'm probably the strongest I've been in my entire life right now because we have the home gym set up. I'm not doing cardio, Pete. I am just doing weightlifting. I haven't even played basketball in the last week, so I can't even use that as the excuse now. But I'm lifted so heavy, I've already maxed out my entire weight bench, Pete, and I got to actually maybe get a real full dumbbell set, or a barbell set, which would be a terrifying expense.
I've been wanting to get a weight bench at home too, because I'm sick of going to the gym just for a couple different things that I don't have. But since we're still looking for a place to move to, I don't really feel like ordering a bench set and then having to move it. But yeah, the struggle is real for us, Spags.
How has the home search been, by the way? Because candidly, we've talked a little bit about our East Coast life, and Alex and I have both kind of leveled on or landed on the idea that maybe we want to go back to the West Coast sooner than we initially anticipated. Got to wait for that capital gains amount to go. But the housing market doesn't seem like the most fun to navigate, Pete. And I hear there was like a month or two there where every weekend you were just going to another open house.
Yeah, and that is, nothing has changed. I've just stopped complaining about it. But yeah, it's absolutely brutal. It's relentless. I do feel things slightly cooling off a bit in a way that makes me hopeful, but I'm just at the point now where I don't get emotionally invested into any place we look at or make an offer, because there's inevitably someone far, far, far richer than me coming over the top.
How does we were honestly going through some places too where like the prices are up exponentially even from when we looked in like late summer, and I just don't get how people are paying like $3 million to live in like a California suburb, or even like Atlanta's prices have gone up enough where it's like, oh, that's a place people used to go because it's cheap, and I just don't know how people are affording this given the other financial concerns of the country.
Yeah, I mean, DPR says the whole bubble is about to burst. I just feel like this is different than the first time around. I love how we're talking fucking real estate here at the start of this. I mean, the first time around, everyone had all their subprime mortgages. Now you're losing out to full cash offers. So it's more to Spags' point. Where is all this money coming from? I mean, I think everyone came out of the pandemic with a little bit more money. We had, we had all the stimulus stuff. People weren't traveling. People didn't have all the other expenses. The economy was doing good. I think everyone just seemed to have a little bit more money. So yeah, the big thing around me is just inventory is awful. I mean, in Massachusetts, like there's no space for anything. Like it's all developed. It's not like you go to Colorado and there's just field after field that you could develop on. It's like there's no room out here, so there's no new inventory.
Mario is saying van life. So yeah, I guess that's always an option, Pete. You could have a van, you could have the best ball van and travel the country in it and solve mysteries, perhaps.
I mean, it honestly doesn't sound that bad to me. As for Lauren, I don't know if I would get the sign off on that.
There are some sick vans that you sometimes like see on like TikTok or something, or
Yeah.
Instagram Reels, where it's like this person really made this van and it's like better than some houses out there.
I have a couple old college buddies who have done that, and I follow their Instagrams here.
All right, we're on the clock. We're back. We got the back-to-back here picks on the turn, Pete. I think it's CD Lamb time for us. Is it not?
Yeah, let's do CD.
All right, so let's let the timer run out here. For the turn pick, we want to do a tight end, receiver. I could go Mark Andrews, or I could go Debo, or I guess Mike Evans if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Debo here. I'm fine with Mark Andrews or DeAndre Swift. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, I'll take Mark Andrews, and we'll get our tight end out of the way. Perhaps no Niners Raiders correlation that we're pretty much having for me every time out. And I know you had a little taste of your Derek Carr, Trey Lance this morning. Play a little bit of a poker there with those guys, holding them out to get your Derek Carr.
Yeah, I know. Well, honestly, that is the funnest element for me now with this stuff. It's like everyone knows, or anyone watching these streams or whatever is hip to the importance of the correlation. And now it's just how cheap can you get it? Can you sneak in an extra player where the rest of the field is reaching or even just grabbing it at value? And can you get a spot where they fall to you? And so that's kind of the game I have. And I don't know, I guess when you're doing a bunch of drafts, I know people get tilted when they get sniped on a stack, but I get more of a thrill just seeing if it can come back to me than I do like reaching to lock it up, because I do think that's how you build these super teams, is by basically getting an extra round or 2 rounds of value on these picks.
There's one player, Pete, that I was reaching on to get him out in the last few puppy drafts. I was doing some accidentally, some intentionally. Do you want to guess that player first, and I can narrow it down by position if you get it wrong?
Well, describe it again. I mean, I know some of your highest exposure players. What were you saying?
So somebody I wasn't getting enough of, but I felt like there were things going on in the media that was going to make him pop up more, and I wanted to get this guy before other people started to scoop him in front of me.
in the media that you weren't getting a lot of.
We talked about him on the show, if that helps.
Why am I? Tell me what position he plays.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver that you weren't getting enough of because the media might start I don't know, Michael Thomas? I don't know.
MVS. I'm heavy Marquez Valdes-Scantling, was getting him pretty much everywhere, taking him sometimes in the high 70s because he was getting scooped right in front of me. Paul V got it right. Yeah, MVS, I think, is going to get to that 75. Like, if Sky Moore was going at 75, even the high 60s in some drafts, like, I do think MVS is going to get to that same range over the next 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, MVS is an interesting one. I do think I could see that entire Chiefs pass catching room outside of Kelsey being very susceptible to training camp news, right? Because between Sky Moore, MVS, Hardman, even with the running backs too, like the market is kind of split on who's really going to win out there. And so I do think the more blurbs we get giving us, quote unquote, signal on that is really, because like, would it shock you if MVS and Sky Moore flip spots, or say if there's even really glowing Mecole Hardman stuff? I know no one wants to believe it at this point, but if he just is getting all the rave, like then all of a sudden he'll be going up, where Sky Moore was. So I do think that's a pretty fluid situation.
Yeah, I mean, look, MVS could easily get downgraded in camp, could get hurt, whatever. But the one thing that really stuck with me was him just calling Devontae Adams, leveraging their relationship and asking him, like, hey, what would you do if you're getting this pass from Holmes? What would you do here? And, sometimes that's probably not enough data-wise to make a jump for MVS, but it's enough to sell me, given the fact that he runs a 4.3 or whatever.
And we have a kind of a similar relationship, Spags, because you're calling me and you're like, hey, you get this comment on a solo stream. What do you do? And, so it kind of works out.
Just phoning a friend during my 5-hour binge streams.
Oh my goodness.
Pete, how do you handle these porn bots? What are they doing here? Here's what you do. You have to convert one of your regular viewers into a pretend porn bot, and then they'll slowly start to dissipate.
I say it every stream. You're lucky that you're just sentient enough to rebate in the chat. But one of these days, Spags and I what do we have right now? 118 people watching live. I mean, if this was a little more and the chat was flying, you are at risk of just getting auto banned.
It's going to be funny when we find out that's not a real person, but it's like some machine learning tool that learned how to evolve beyond it all. It's like you have to participate in the community to get people to buy into your porn spam.
Well, it's funny you say that because it's not this exact same genre of porn bots, but there was a wave on Club Top Shot of bots that there was someone like manually coming up with the names because it kept saying, Pete, come get in my Tesla with me, daddy, or something. So there is some human input going into some of these.
All right. I mean, look, if you're going to go that extra mile, that's fine. Just sending emojis, though, of eggplant, I feel like that game is so 2000 and late, Pete.
Yeah, it really is. Fool me once, shame on you.
And, of course, we are coming up here in a few more picks. Going to have 2 picks in a row, but make sure you are subscribed to the Pete's channel and the Splash Play channel. The Pete, I did say you're going on Get Playback today. Are you getting some of those sweet secondary screen bucks?
No, Brian and I have been talking about that idea for years on lulls. And so, I'm excited to try it out. My buddy Mike over at Team Hold has been doing some of the streams on there.
Get some good views on there. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to give it a shot tonight. It seems like a good setup. Like I like the idea of, we're on the clock here.
Yeah, we are on the clock. I was going to let you keep talking, but we got Marquise Brown, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton. We could also get the bring back for Baltimore with Deontay Johnson.
I love Brown and Moore.
Let's take Brown. Not Chubb. I know you took Chubb this morning. I know you're a big running back guy, but I don't want any Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I know. This is now Spags gets to bully me on his account.
So I don't mind Deontay Johnson. I do think Claypool's a nice discount, and we can probably get him later. So I don't mind taking this getting steamed up Cortland Sutton, but do you have any preference?
I definitely prefer Moore, and then I would go Johnson otherwise.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to overrule that one now that I can. Deontay Johnson. I don't believe in DJ Moore very much. Like I worry about the Panthers quite a bit.
Why?
I just don't. I mean, Matt Corral, if they do put him out there, sure. And they did, draft a left tackle. So that should help at least give Sam Darnold a chance. But like just all the stuff about him having chaotic feet and just, he hasn't made any improvements really. And then is Corral even good, or is he just going to be better or flat? Like, I don't have a ton of faith and we didn't get the Bucks anyway. So I feel like, I don't know, I'm not dying to
I
get
know. I
Carolina.
think you could say there's just as much uncertainty. I mean, obviously Kenny Pickett comes with a little bit higher draft capital, but there's reports that he might start. So I mean, I don't know. I think the situations are kind of fairly analogous. And you could also say DJ Moore has way less target competition than Deontay Johnson too. He doesn't have a Chase Claypool bearing down on him. He doesn't even have a rookie as good as, George Pickens, doesn't have a tight end as good as Freiermuth. I mean, I think there's a lot going for DJ Moore.
All right, fair enough. Well, Deontay Johnson, I'll never, stop talking about his reception perception stats. I feel like he's one of the highest graded guys I've had Harmon's touted. And I feel like that's something that will stick with me. And I hope it pays off with Kenny Pickett might have somehow lucked himself to the best possible situation for him in his baby hands.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely buying in on it. I did a Kyler Kenny Pickett team the other day where I think I had Claypool. I don't think I had Deontay Johnson on that one. We should also mention Nick Chubb at pick 39 at the beginning of the fourth for a little modified anchor build is pretty damn nice.
There's some falling ADPs. Also, interesting chat here about the bot stuff. I missed this headline from SPAGS. Of course, his name sounds like mine enough that it honestly, Pete, throws me for a loop too, because SPAGS is in the chat on Friday. And I'm like, am I saying SPAGS? No, it is in fact a different person. You see that software developer from Google got suspended because they stated that the Google AI is sentient now. That sounds terrifying and dystopic.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's the answer there for our bot problem is they're wising up. I mean, these bots will be talking about sex and correlation here in about 2 weeks.
Is a bot ever going to replace your work? Like all this time we've been concerned about like people in factories and cashiers, and in fact they're coming for the content creators talking about best ball.
Are you kidding? I mean, if I could have a bot do all my streaming for me, so I could just go sip pina coladas on the beach. I mean, that's the dream here.
Would it be a bot based off of you, or would it be like a bot that just kind of does its own thing, has its own style?
I would love a bot based off of me, it's basically, my way to finally give back to everyone, just removing me, and you guys can plug in all your inputs. Maybe it'll be like a parrot type of thing too, where you get to request which lines I say. So the chat will power some of the suggestions. I think it's really a great version of reality.
All the evolution of technology, and you're programming like the toy that you pull the string on the back.
Yeah.
That's whatever you want. Okay. That's fun.
Wow, Devin. I don't know if I should take this as a compliment or not.
Devin was making some nice chats. He's on the West Coast watching, was asking questions about, I think, some player. And then now he's been radicalized because we didn't reply to him immediately.
Yeah, exactly. You guys could run your own show. I believe I've put enough balls and bits in the air, and now it's your guys' turn. Maybe it's also like a soundboard thing up there, and we have like all the options. It's like, do the coffee bit, do the horn dog bit, and you guys could just, direct your own stream.
I was watching Best Ball Breakfast on my big TV today, just because I was like,
whoa, on your big TV. Yeah. Rich boy over here on his big TV.
Normally I watch it on my phone and I just put the phone on the thing, but I was like, you know what? Pete deserves more respect. He's put a lot of effort into his production.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You know who's like, I don't normally see like the avatars that well because they're kind of small and grainy. Here's the guy. So there's one person who has a really fucking sick avatar that I never noticed until seeing your stream today. And he's one of the names right now that's chatted recently, Pete, if you want to guess.
Is it Devin Davis?
No, Alex Clark's avatar looks fucking swank as hell. He and his partner look
yeah, like and so I bet Alex, whenever I see this photo, I always think it's Alex Rodriguez in like the small form. Like, doesn't it kind of look like A-Rod there a little bit?
Yeah, I could say. I mean, look, he looks handsome. I think it's a great event, whatever they went to. Seems like a lovely time. Great avatar.
I'm telling you, they're more relentless today in a way that is oddly suspicious to us talking about them.
Their sentience grows by the day.
But yes, no, I agree with you. Alex here, very professional, dressed for the nines for YouTube chat.
Oh, there. Alex with an inspirational one here. That was pre-parenthood me. So there we go. Something for us to aspire to.
Yes, that would also be Alex right-clicked, save as his profile picture from another couple.
It's like when you get the photo album or like the picture frame in a store, and it's like some other couple. Sometimes you just want to keep that picture in there because they did a great job.
On the clock, and then I have a story about that.
All right, so we got a Baltimore Lamar Jackson here. We could do two QBs if we really wanted to get crazy.
Lamar Dobbins here, double tap it.
Why Dobbins?
Dobbins is an insane value. We're making a bet on the Ravens here. There's not a lot else to stack. with outside of a Duvernay or Wallace late, it's perfect.
But we also got Drake London there for an Arizona run back. We have Kyler Murray, who stacks with our receiver, Marquise Brown.
This goes back to what I was saying. Like, you do whatever you want, but I would easily take Dobbins here. They don't do the quarterback.
God. Double quarterback. We're done. We're clear on QB. We've got 2 great QBs.
Folks, for me personally, that's a no-no.
I mean, the QB ideal zone, Pete, is round 6 through 13. I admit I probably could take that QB late. But how many times am I going to get Lamar to fall to me there and then also get Kyler? Like, that's pretty nice. And we have their 2 top receivers.
Whatever. I don't think it's the best use of capital.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I was trying to get Drake London above Kyler Murray at the last minute, and I didn't quite pull it off. So we ended up with Kyler.
Gosh, tune into Best Ball Breakfast to see a BBM3 team drafted optimally and not by the whims of a sick man.
I did, Pete, on the Friday show after I had the bad second draft. I went for one more puppy. Didn't draft a running back till round 11.
Wow, impressive, Spags.
It was honestly a really good team. If I told you the team, you'd be like, "Yep, that's a team that's going to win you $75K cold."
See, Hayden's giving you the catch-all out. You can do whatever you want under the guise of uniqueness.
I've honestly just been missing out on QB so much that I end up having to cobble together a Daniel Jones or Matt Ryan thing late that I just want to get this done, and then we can keep making you draft receivers over and over again.
Oh God, I need to vet this super chat before I pull it up here.
I guess Rudy rule up top seems worrisome.
I know. The second I saw that, Jay Brooks, should there be an IRL Rooney rule that requires a woman for every guy over 6 feet 2 she dates, she should be required to date 2 short guys under 5'7"? I'm not short, but feel for my little bros.
I'm sure they love being called your little bros. That's simply thing that makes a short guy feel like a man.
How stoned are you at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on a Monday?
That is a creative solution to a real problem, I think.
I mean, my goodness.
We need to go back to putting our height on the stream so people know that, like, if we're giving a take on this, it's completely unbiased and not coming from a place of personal advantage.
I feel like I just have to give this to him for doing it. Goodness, Jay Brooks. Jay Brooks, in his super chats, for a while, it was like 2 weeks of him sending me $4.99 and saying draft Sterling Shepard. And then to that, I mean, Jay Brooks, you are a fascinating individual.
Devin also chiming in here. Unfortunately, I'm 5'6", but I broke both my ankles when I was 14. Damn it, Pete. I got to not step on you. The chat's on the screen. But I broke both my ankles when I was 14, so I blame that. That seems unfortunate to lose height to both your ankles being broken at the most important year, like your freshman year of high school. Like they must have some fun nicknames for.
I guess at this point, I'm just like a chat truther. I just don't believe anything you guys say. So I'm just going to assume that's a rug pull too.
I honestly, though, I feel like you got to give Devin credit either way, because there's never been a man on the internet who's been under 5'8". Like, that's said it out loud. Like Bagel Boss is basically it. The guy who went viral for yell. There's
never been anyone who's left the casino and not broken even. At least it's just one of those givens.
Good chat. So we appreciate all you guys hanging out. Of course, we are doing these streams, Pete and I, Monday and Thursday at 2:30 Eastern. Friday, the SPAGS solo streams only on the Splash Play channel, because we got to protect Pete's channel from all sorts of misinjury or misconduct that goes on the Friday streams. But though, Pete, I didn't realize, so we do have a female in our audience. We have a couple, but like Hope actually chimed in, who's one of your regulars, and are also a very good best ball drafter. She drafted a really fucking sick puppy team in some draft I was doing, but she's actually watching my Friday shows. So we're getting those demographics up with the ladies, literally one by one.
Yeah, no, I mean, you do everything in your power to alienate them with urine mathology's horn doggedness, and then they love best ball so much that we're fortunately able to, keep them coming back. But I certainly wouldn't blame any of them for leaving the way you two Neanderthals behave.
Hope honestly scooped me on a backdoor Daniel Jones stack, and I was like, well, yeah, you know what? Like that was exactly what I was gonna do, and but honestly stuck with me because she left the comment too that same day, and I'm like, wow, it's all paying off. You watch these streams, Pete. Eventually, you're gonna be better at the drafting, probably very fast.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're back on the clock. Do you have a third elite quarterback you want to take? Dak Prescott available here?
Done at QB. I suppose we could take Elijah Mitchell. We could take another receiver. I don't mind taking another receiver. Kirk?
I definitely like taking one of Mitchell or Sanders with one of these picks. And then
I don't think a lot of Elijah Mitchell. Let's take him.
Okay, let's take Eli Mitchell. And then, yeah, I think we should take a receiver, Kirk or Lockett. I don't see any correlation stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think I've got enough Lockett. I'll take Kirk. I mean, shock you to hear. I do live the bit, Pete. I do have enough Drew Lock. Though, somebody PFF posted like a screenshot of the Seattle offense. It's like, are the Seahawks being underrated? And I agree fully with whatever PFF's saying about that. We had a meeting with Eric over at PFF, who's been on Splash League before last week, and coincidentally, that week they're putting out bait for all us Seahawks fans, all us 12s out there.
That's what you guys are calling yourself?
I think the Seahawks fans have called themselves the 12s, yeah, for a while.
What did Drew Lock truthers call themselves other than wrong?
the lock cocks, I think is what. Bonk.
Sure, I'll bonk you.
Okay. Is Devin now doing a parody of me with this chat?
I don't know. See, Devin balances his chat range well, where I can't tell what's true or not. I'm pretty sure this is a parody. No, it's not. I think he's being genuine. He's making fun of you because he's not, conceited enough to call making a spreadsheet coding.
I had enough backup on that one. Oh, Bullock, our high school friend, giving us his lunch money here. Hey, guys, did you see that? Didn't he say this on your morning stream?
He said this on the chat. I don't get it. I mean, is this some child's humor? Is this is this study hall humor we're not getting here? Read it out loud because he paid us.
Hey guys, did you see the Holland transfer was officially announced by Manchester City? Any thoughts? Eggplant emoji, eyes, some sort of. That's a soccer ball emoji. Okay.
That is a soccer ball.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, Pete. Normally, I'm tracking my Man City, my Man U's, all my mans is out there. I'm tracking hardcore, but I did not see that move.
I assume that it's some kind of like phonetic thing we are saying wrong, where we just accidentally said IP freely and the chat is all laughing or something. This is some sick juvenile soccer joke, I could tell.
I mean, Bullock, considering his age too, like it's probably some Gen Z humor where it's like not funny and it's ironic in that way, where it's like, oh, we just say like this guy got transferred to a soccer team, and then like, oh, you get a streamer to say it, and then all his friends laugh, and then they play.
Bullock is absolutely giggling with all of his friends at the hopscotch right now.
They're all busy right now playing freeze tag, so that when they are unfrozen and they can see this chat, they're gonna get such great laughs.
Yeah, Bullock does such great cherry bombs when they play Foursquare.
Bullock actually has those little snapper guys that you throw on the floor and they make a pop, and he's like, well, Mom says I can't have firecrackers yet, so these are about as close as we can get.
Oh my goodness.
Holland is the next soccer superstar, Eric is saying. Okay, yeah, that checks out from what I know.
You can pump whatever future soccer star you want if you send $4.99 along with it. We'll give exposure to all of the best up and comers.
Pete, for your upcoming So Rare streams, you got to file that one away.
Dude, I actually did. I did do a So Rare thing on Lols a few months back, but I got an email again from So Rare, and they're like, we want to do a paid partnership with your YouTube channel. And I was like, I don't follow soccer, and I'm not on So Rare. I don't think this is a good fit. And they're like, well, we are actually launching another thing. Hopefully this isn't exclusive. We're also launching an MLB thing. And I was like, well, you found the other sport that I don't follow at all. And I said, have a good day.
Yeah, I saw that actually, because I do know a couple So Rare employees that I have on LinkedIn just from previous jobs they were at. And yeah, they were big on MLB. And I don't know how that would work at all. I presume MLB stacking is so important that I guess it would be pretty similar for you with football, but it definitely is they're pushing it pretty hard. And I assume got no traction at all with that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it conceptually, I think So Rare is very cool. I think they've kind of nailed how to marry, the NFT element with the contest. It seems very cool. I don't follow it. If I was a soccer bro, I think I would be very interested in it.
And they're also a French company, which, Pete, it's almost the 4th of July. I feel like you couldn't possibly support that.
No, I call it Freedom Rare is actually my preferred name for the site.
Freedom Ball.
Yeah.
Oh God. Of course, we are going to be drafting these teams all summer, Pete, and that's going to be a lot of fun because I want another puppy already. Like, I think that's the main thing. Because I'm worried now that I want to win Best Ball Mania, and I'm worried that my foolishness is going to ruin some quality Best Ball Mania entries.
Wait, so Onion headline man with $67.16 an account wants another puppy? Who would have seen that coming?
I mean, look, you can do the math on all the numbers I've put in. I've been putting up some big entry fees across the board.
I would love to see, because you've done hundreds of drafts. I would love to see your transaction account. You're just doing, what are you doing? Like $100 at a time. Be like, this is my last 100. And then you run back to the bank account.
So I justify it by doing 250 per deposit. And then it's like, okay, cool. I'll run through this and then I'll hit the next one. I kind of space out the, the credit card payments. But yeah, look, I didn't have a big best ball win last year, Pete. And NBA fucking ran as bad for me down the stretch as it possibly could. Though I will say this year, NBA best ball, if you enjoy some of these streams, I'm going to be doing that alone with Pete wanting nothing to do with it.
All right, let's go. We're almost on the clock.
All right, back to us here. Of course, we took one running back, so we never need to take one again, I think is how that goes. You know what?
No, Cordero Patterson.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's the move. All right, I'll put him in the queue. Do you want to take another QB, huh? Get that QB3.
Rodgers would be so sick with this team. Oh my God, where are all the wide receivers in this draft? I mean, no, we should just stack up Kyler with Rondell. Get that double.
Yeah, okay. That works for me.
Stuff is, holy cow. I didn't realize this was such a piss boys draft. This is nuts.
I think we did set the tone pretty early on with what we were doing, and I'm glad that everybody else can do that.
Oh my goodness. I am going to have to send Spags. I'm going to send you this 25. Actually, first, let me take YouTube's cut, and then I'll send you. I'm going to send this directly to Spags because everyone's donating. Oh my goodness. Poor Spags is getting handouts. I'm going to have to send Spags money at the end of the stream.
As a sick father overcoming illness to do a paternity leave, my milestone, Pete, of getting a virus through Luca, who was given the virus through my loving mother-in-law, who's been doing a great job taking care of him. Tell you what, it feels good. Feels good to get some money in finally. See some orange on the screen.
That made me remember, or I wanted to ask. So, like, what does Alex think of all your best ball play from a financial standpoint? Do you guys have shared finances, or does she have no clue that you're, every single day taking $250 out of your checking account for this?
So we share the co-payments on stuff, but like my money is my money and her money is her money is how we do it right now. That's subject to change in the future because we have to start putting money towards 529 plans and potential houses and such. But again, like the runway that I got for this is that I won the 75K in NBA last year DFS, like when we were first starting to really like lock in on our relationship. So like for her, she just sees the good side of it. She doesn't see like the fucking minus 10K.
He doesn't see you double tapping two elite quarterbacks at the 5-6 turn. Yeah.
No, but she trusts the process enough. And I've also given her betting advice. Like when she had some free money from FanDuel, like she won a couple hundred during the Super Bowl, like parlaying some Stafford touchdown props with whatever. So like she's seen enough to trust that like I know what I'm doing. But admittedly, like if I ran bad and lost every dollar in this, and then she's like, what happened to that best ball money you said?
And then you're just like, 0 RB, bad year for it.
I'd be like, but it was a plus EV approach. It just didn't work out that way. And then, I could probably walk it back.
Yeah, Spags' final words as he's getting divorced, but I was unique. I feel like my number for doing this is going to be much higher than Spags'. I feel like Spags will do this for free in about 2 weeks. I would need to get the bag to agree to a 24-hour draft stream.
I mean, look, somebody's got to do it. The Spike Week guys have talked about it, Pete. And, we like those guys like BBM3 Coakley. I think I'm doing a stream with tomorrow, actually, on the Spike Week channel if you want to go subscribe there. And we're doing the Best Ball Royal Rumble thing, Pete. So, like, I support those guys. At the same token, I don't want to get scooped by a channel with similar sub numbers. Like, we gotta stay ahead.
I mean, yeah, it really is an arms race to see who has the stamina to do the 24-hour best ball stream. And everyone's just gearing up. And if you don't get there first, you're definitely last.
I mean, look, I did 3 hours, and I would say I did that 3 hours. What stopped me from continuing on was A, I needed to go eventually help take care of Luca and do things in the house. And B, like, I just kind of ran out. Like, my mouth was starting to get a little tired. I have to build up the endurance of talking for that many hours. I could talk for 24 hours. You could talk for 24 hours. It wouldn't be like we're well equipped to do that, whereas some others in the space maybe not quite as well equipped.
Yeah, it's probably... I would say, I mean, I had a lot of energy on my stream this morning. If you're going to go that long, you got to dial it back. Even tonight when we do the NBA final stream, I mean, that'll be 3.5 hours, but it's going to be It's gonna be more chill. I'm not gonna be dancing like your monkey with miniature cymbals for 3 hours straight like I do in the morning.
I just think there's always something to talk about. Is like, especially with chat, like chat to me, like, on those Friday streams, and I'm sure I know it's the same for you with Best Ball Breakfast. Like, they are like a second host, but they're a host that you don't even have to throw to. You can just kind of take whatever you want out of them, and like, you're not on the hook for it. Like, you could also not use their chats.
Yeah, no, sometimes you even find hot free sex on Tinder from the chat. It really is the gift that keeps on giving.
High definition sex at that.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, low res sex. Like if you're not 1080p, 1080 penetration, I'm gonna bonk myself for that.
Oh, interesting. So Short Gamer here saying that Rinpack has a all Rams Chiefs team. Rinpack, obviously one of the sharpest DFS players out there. I'm curious to see what guys like Rinpack do as they move over to Best Ball a little bit more, just because there's going to be different approaches. And like, I know some of the Osmo guys, like I talked about Nolan Kelly as their head of content. Like, I know he's using some of the projection data, and he's been going real RB heavy. And I feel like just getting some different, you might feel differently, but getting some different people bringing money to the table, first of all, but second of all, different approaches. Like, I'm just kind of curious to see how these guys approach it.
Yeah. Once we're done picking, I want to see his full team there.
We got a lot of running backs.
Gracious. I mean, we definitely should take one running back here.
We have
I don't know. I like Cook. I like Ramondre.
Okay, Cook. Cook's ADP here is real behind again. He falls a lot now for some reason.
Who's the best available wide receiver?
Let's see. Tolbert.
Holy cow, we're only like 13 picks behind ADP. I don't know. Are you obviously the values here at running back? I don't really see a huge difference in all these wide receivers after, where I'm kind of inclined to take our next favorite running back of this group.
I don't mind Chase Edmonds here.
All right.
Or Rashad White.
I'm good with any of those. I mean, I definitely think the running backs are better than the wide receivers here.
Okay. I do like Jalen Tolbert. I like him a lot, though he hasn't played yet in camp because I guess he's coming off of an injury, which would be nice if you were getting out there and getting some of those reps so he could start to build the rapport with Dak. But I wouldn't mind taking Tolbert there.
Yeah. It also goes back to, again, this does feel like a ship chasing draft. It's unique. Normally there are far more positional options available in this draft. We're clearly in a wide receiver heavy room. So I do like to take advantage of those dynamics to my favor. And I do think we set ourselves up well by going 0 RB. I do think I think we both ended up being wrong on the Kyler pick. I don't think Kyler was the right answer and Dobbins was the right answer. Knowing how this draft went, the right answer was probably another wide receiver there. I forget. I think London was the guy we were kind of thinking about. That probably should have been the pick, just knowing how wide receiver crazy this room ended up. But now I would prefer not to be reaching, think about all the teams that are going to have Jalen Tolbert from like 147 to 165 range. I don't love taking him at what would that pick have been? 130?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the only dynamics I'm thinking through there.
Yeah, I mean, I know we had Hayden in the chat earlier. He did talk about the diminishing returns of taking a guy, I think more than 12 spots ahead of EP. It falls off of a cliff, but even less than that, it is diminishing returns the more and more you get away from it. So I'm with you on it. I just feel like there aren't a lot of high upside receivers left. So but
I guess I don't really see the difference between Tolbert and Joshua Palmer. I feel like a lot of those, that's a good example just because they're both wide receiver threes on good offenses, but I don't know. I feel like there's more arbitrage versions, and I feel like the risk reward is kind of similar for a lot of players down here. Let me see. I want to go look at this Rinpack team. People are talking about 10, because this is wild. So this is literally every player has been LAR, KC. He just mixed in a Denver bringback. Does he have LAC on this?
Let's see. Sorry, I'm in the wrong part. Why is this mouse not coming back down? There we go. Okay. So you started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, I would love to hear, Rinpack, if you're watching, I'd love to hear your thought process on this. My kind of thought is maybe he's trying to build a team that, he thinks has first place regular season win equity, because I definitely think, stacking up a couple of the really good offenses, we saw it last year with there was a Packers Bengals team that crushed, but man, you're going to have such a hard time getting these teams to put up the necessary points you need 3 straight weeks in a row, like 15, 16, and 17. It's just going to be a really tough needle to thread with this much capital invested into a single team. It's not my preferred strategy, but I would love to get the thought process behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously don't want to speak for Rinpack because he's his own man and very sharp. Of course, Ryan, one of the guys over at Osmo, has been doing a lot of great stuff both behind the scenes and also for his own DFS career. Yeah, I think your take about he might think there's more value in the regular season, I think. And also, I'm with you on the thought that like that doesn't seem ideal for the playoffs, but like it's got to be a really unique lineup. And I guess you hope is that maybe the Chiefs and Rams both have to play into a playoff spot and they're both bringing their A game week 15, week 16, week 17. And that could be a way to justify it, I guess.
My other thing, I think I'm more open to the onslaughts if it's the cheap versions, like if you get Russ Wilson and then you're grabbing like everyone after that, Akui Boonham, Patrick, Hamler, you're tossing in Dolce or whatever it is, like I'm more willing to onslaught at a cheap cost as opposed to onslaughting the premium pieces.
We're coming here. Also, can you pull up its Mookies chat? Oh, there we go.
Rimpack says, best ball, not my forte. I'm trying different shit out with team onslaughts. Yeah, I mean, it is. I think it's fun to experiment with that, and we've seen some good success regular season wise with those.
I mean, it feels like we could take another running back if we want.
Well, what about getting another pit guy here? I know we're not going to take Pickett, but I do think Pickens represents just some of the last like pretty big upside here at wide receiver.
And then I never mind taking Hines, Spiller. I think if we want a little correlation, Darrell Williams being the guy who somehow could benefit if Connor went out. I
feel like Spiller, Hines, and Carter are definitely, I prefer that to a Darrell Williams type.
I honestly haven't been getting a lot of Carter lately, so I'm gonna take Carter. If I pick the right guy, there we go.
I thought you had a bunch of Carter early on.
I did early on, but I haven't taken him at the lower ADP. I was taking him on the upside.
Dollar cost averaging down on Carter.
Yes, but I have so much Hines. Like I don't think I have my exposure sheet open over here, but I have an ungodly amount of Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, I had a few of those decisions that were pretty polarized this morning. The Spiller versus Hines. There are plenty of good people on both sides.
Spiller is, I think, a little undervalued. Like he's one of the guys whose ADP dropped a lot because where he landed in the draft. But like if Eckler goes out, or even if they just use him more to keep some pressure off of Eckler and just who gets hurt a lot, a little guy, like there's a lot of ways Spiller could be there. And that week 17 game, Rams Chargers, like Spiller is probably the least owned part of that, you would think.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's tricky is, this wasn't as good of a class, just across the board for running backs. And even though some of these guys fell into good situations, I still think that, to be these league winners, they're going to have a certain level of talent. It did seem like the chat, and I know some of our dynasty bros were kind of a little conflicted on Spiller just from a profile standpoint. So I do wonder, my argument this morning was that if Eckler goes down, I don't think he gets a full bell cow role. I think he loses some of the short area goal line touches to one of the big body backs. And so then if you have on top of that, he's not, as great of a prospect as we'd hope, then I get a little less excited about it. Whereas I feel like with Rachaad White, maybe a little bit better prospect, maybe a little clearer path to a 3-down workload. But I certainly am not going to begrudge anyone for taking stabs on a contingent running back in one of the best offenses in football. I certainly get it.
Spiller's not small. He's 6 feet tall and 217.
Did I say small? I didn't mean to.
Oh, I think you said he was a smaller back. You might have been talking about Eckler. My bad. I might have misheard you. But yeah, Spiller's big. I agree with you. Rachaad White, like, I'm actually going to, I think, pay for Player Profiler. I was going through on the Friday stream, Pete, like why I'm a little more into Breece Hall, like the fact that he was, really grading out a college dominator level, like 90th percentile, his share of touches and yardage and all that. That's a big upside thing that I kind of want to just have on a data sheet somewhere. Spiller actually 48th percentile in college dominator stats, so he wasn't getting a lot of that offense. Who actually is really good according to college dominator is Ken Walker. They could pair him to LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, I'm in on Walker at his cost. I really think the reason we're getting a discount on him is because no one's excited about the Seahawks offense except you, Spags, which is ironic because I feel like you have low. Don't you have loads of the Seattle passing game, but not much Walker?
I have a lot of Rashad Penny because I just
Okay.
take the lower
Yeah.
ADP running back usually in those split backfields.
Yeah, I like Rashad Penny too. But yeah, I want to. I mean, that's the perfect ambiguous backfield with two players that are like legitimately talented. I mean, Rashad Penny is good, and I think so is Kenneth Walker. And I want to be having stabs at both of those guys.
OX saying Rotoviz is better than Player Profiler. Pete, you might feel differently. Like, obviously, we like the Rotoviz guys a lot and talk a lot. I obviously reference Stricko's articles and Dubner's research as Pete does as well over at Rotoviz. And Sean Siegel, certainly, I think one of the archetype guys who really established everything that we're going off of here. But like, I think you should just have multiple data sources. Like, you shouldn't just listen to one thing. That's, I think, a fool's errand.
I love Rotoviz, so I will. Rotoviz is king.
Player Profiler is just a data number. Like, to me, it's not. I'm not taking their takes. Like, I'm not taking their best ball strategy. I just want to see guys for college numbers and have a read on that. But I think some of them line up. Like, I think Siegel was really big on Breece Hall, and like he looks great on Player Profiler. So it's not, you're not mutually exclusive, is what I would say.
Yeah. All right. We are almost on the clock here at our 15-16 turn. What's our build structure? 2-5-6-1.
Yep. So I would take one more tight end, one more running back, and then the rest receiver.
Yeah. What's the tight end board looking like?
We got the great Noah Fant there. We got Hayden Hurst. You can take Ingram if we want to continue the bet on Jacksonville.
Yeah. We could probably put what's our wide receivers looking like? Austin Hooper might be good if we need a Tennessee correlation here.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see.
He's not. And is Mechie there or just Nico?
I think
we could use a Houston guy.
Just Nico.
Okay.
We could take Brevin Jordan late too.
That's true.
Man,
I mean these running backs sitting around still here.
I'm gonna put Darrell Williams in the queue just so we get one more bet on the Arizona game.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I mean, do we want to take the tight end now? Wide receiver is not looking too great, but it's also going to be even worse, obviously, when we go again.
I mean, all these guys are such similar blend. Let's do our tight end.
All right, Hooper.
Yeah, let's do Hooper.
That's a reach, but I mean, he's not going to come back to us probably.
I think we should also pencil in one of the Ravens wide receivers too, to just get a Lamar double.
Okay. I could go either. Like, I think there's arguments for Duvernay and Wallace, honestly.
I wish I had a strong opinion. I don't. I've been mixing in both.
I mean, Duvernay, the argument for Duvernay is that he's been actually playing a lot more. Wallace, I think grades out a similar, I think, profile in terms of upside, but has he shown it at all? Like, to even get on the field? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bullock saying no Noah Fant makes me a sad boy. I think, trust me, Bullock, I got enough Noah Fant in BBM already. I think it's another one of those.
Yeah, I do. I will say I like Noah Fant's price a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think he's him and Gerald Everett always being around there in that section is pretty nice.
Taysom Hill going right after Austin Hooper, which we did reach on Hooper there, but Taysom Hill.
Let me see the Taysom Hill, because I'm not anti the Taysom Hill Galbrain play, but I feel like it has to be on the very specific type of team. Was this his tight end 2? Okay.
Tight end 3.
Tight end 3 with Gronk. Who's his quarterback? Oh, he did get the Jameis. Does he have a QB 2 yet? Or just Jameis? Oh, Dak and I guess I don't mind it in this. Does he have any Philly stuff?
He went hyper fragile to start. I don't see any Philly.
So you do setting up the I guess I don't mind it in this context. You're rounding out your Winston, and then you're going. I guess I would just the scenario. The only difference I like is if I go a little later than Rob Gronk as my, and you're kind of piecing together 3 tight ends at the end, and then having Taysom Hill be one of those.
Yeah, Devin was asking why is Taysom Hill listed as tight end. He's listed as tight end because he's supposedly playing more tight end this year, and he's officially listed as a tight end on their roster.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense. I mean, Gronk, I guess, technically hasn't announced his return, even though it feels inevitable.
Yeah, and Logan Thomas slips pretty far. Like Logan Thomas, I've seen go into 18th in some of the puppy drafts I was doing. BBM should be a little bit sharper than that, but I think he got okay value. And then I guess he technically got the handcuff for Jameis at tight end with Taysom Hill.
FF Doom says, don't Jameis and Taysom cancel each other out if the whole thesis is that Taysom plays at QB? Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you're also getting those points at tight end as well.
And he could theoretically catch a pass or two from Jameis. Like, they're not uncorrelated.
Who knows what crazy shit they're going to cook up for Taysom Hill.
Who knows what Dennis Allen and the boys are going to get up to? No Sean Payton now. That's like Bullock when mom's out of the house. Things get a little crazy for Dennis Allen and the Saints.
So let's see here. So we're going to do a Ravens wide receiver with one of our picks. What are we looking to do with our last pick outside of that? Another wide receiver, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could take both receivers, I guess. Actually, no. Duvernay's gone, so we can now no longer take Devin Duvernay.
Okay.
Who else do we have? We got Dak. We can take a Houston guy. I guess there really aren't any left.
Nick Westbrook-Ikine, or we already got Hooper, I guess. Maybe a Las Vegas. What? Someone Willis was wanting me to take Demarcus Robinson this morning.
We'll let the clock run on Wallace.
Yeah, that Bullock says Brian Edwards. I thought he was gone. Is he still there?
No, he's still there.
Yeah. Do we want? I mean, we've already. Do we want a third Atlanta guy? Or do we just have one Atlanta?
Yeah, we only got one. We only have Cordero.
I like Edwards then.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Anything else obvious we're missing?
I don't think so. We didn't get any Detroit. I mean, a Seattle guy, but there really aren't any good Seattle guys left at receiver. Like, I don't want D. Eskridge or anything.
Yeah, so we're good because we want to grab Wallace here.
All right. So we have Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray at QB, a two-headed behemoth at QB, Elijah Mitchell at running back with Cordero Patterson, James Cook, Chase Edmonds, Michael Carter, Darrell Williams, a receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Marquise Brown, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, George Pickens, Brian Edwards, and Tylan Wallace here timing out for us in the 18th. And then Mark Andrews and Austin Hooper at tight end. Pete, you've seen this team here. You lost control to me here on my account as I produced through a sickness. How do you feel about the team that we built?
I mean, I like it. I still think we messed up with the Kyler pick. Not my favorite pick, but otherwise I think we rounded this out nicely. I like how, because we're making such big bets on the Ravens and the Cardinals, I like that we got the double stacks, and I also like we have double bringbacks because we're going to really need those teams to carry us in week 17 with how much capital we invested in them. So I like that. And I think it's, Rinpack showed kind of the alternative to an onslaught. I kind of prefer where we stopped, right? Where we basically have 5 guys from 2 different games for week 17 with our double stacks and the double bring back. And I think considering the format and just how many points and how much you need to thread the needle with 470 people in week 17, I feel like that's about the max I want to put into a full on game stack. And I think there's diminishing returns past that. We got some good values on our running backs because this was such a piss boy room. And otherwise I thought our picks made decent sense.
What would you have done with instead of what I did with Lamar and Kyler back to back? Would you have taken Dak later?
No, well, so I mean, in the moment I was pushing to take Dobbins. I think the right move in hindsight would have been to take Drake London and then scroll down. And then we're probably using a quarterback on the Chase Edmonds pick instead.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We could have the reason, the way I think about this stuff too. And I don't hate, double elite quarterback. I don't think it's quote unquote bad, but it's just part of the advantage of elite onesie positions is you're giving yourself the freedom to really wait on the second one. And so that would have been a build where maybe we have Lamar or Kyler, and then we get Kenny Pickett late, right? We could have done a Lamar with Pickett or a Kyler with Pickett. And so kind of using that luxury, knowing, hey, most weeks we're going to be using one of those elite quarterbacks. But I see the arguments for it. Weeks 15 through 17, they could certainly ping pong the massive games you need.
saving our draft here, so we know that Pete is in fact legally entitled to his half of this. And there we go. Anybody, do you have any time to saucing? Do you want any? We're getting a lot of requests for saucing here.
Let's do one sauce, and then I gotta go.
All right, which one here? Which one do you want to do?
I saw, wow, lots of sauce requests here. Sauce from the 109 was the first request I saw for Eric here.
Okay, so you can see him on the screen here. The 109. So you got Devontae Adams.
Will you go to the team view? It's a little easier from the team view.
Oh, yeah, sure. There you go.
All right. Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, Desmond Ritter. I think this is fine as a 3 QB build. We have Javonte, Etienne, Ramondre, Dameon Pierce, Algier, Adams, Debo, the most popular start in fantasy football, DJ Moore, who Spags maybe pass on, Drake London, who we both passed on, Russell Gage, Jahan Dotson, Hamler, Samuel, and then Dawson Knox, Zach Ertz. Bro, you're not unique with that Samuel Adams start. Everyone has that. What else are you seeing wrong with this team, Spags?
I mean, I like the Carson Wentz double stack. I also think I actually had on our news sheet bringing up the Desmond Ritter thing. Apparently, it is an open competition for the starting job there. So not quite as much, like obviously decent chance Mariota starts for Atlanta, but Ritter can win that job in camp. So I think you've talked about that, Pete. You might actually talk about that this morning. Like Ritter could get steamed up a lot if he's good in camp and people are liking him, and like London's looking good and Pitts is looking good. So I think that's a pretty solid pick, and you got a ton of correlations. You probably wouldn't want Algier with Ritter, would be my thought. And also Drake London. But besides that, I don't see any issues.
If you want further saucing, you can hop in the Deposit Kingdom Discord and the Splash Play channel. You can post your team, and we'll tell you what a piece of shit team you drafted.
All right, there we go. So, Pete, give the people your plug. Of course, you are venturing into new worlds of live broadcasting for yourself. So what can people expect with you on Club Top Shot in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, we're streaming that on Get Playback tonight. We're going to go live right when the game starts around 9. It's free. It's just a different streaming software, and you just sign in with your cable provider. It could be YouTube TV as well, Hulu TV, and then we're just synced up. We're synced up. So who knows? Maybe Splash Play come the fall. Maybe a little island game hangout with Spags and Pete. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Island Boys back on Get. I'm sure they'd love to get that advertising.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll be back on Thursday, 2:30 here on the Splash Play channel, as well as Pete's channel. Friday solo stream from me will be on the Splash Play channel exclusively. So make sure you are subscribed to both Pete's channel and the Splash Play channel. Follow at Peter Overzet, follow at Chris Spags, and follow at Splash Play Pod. And if you get the time, give us 5 stars and review on Apple Podcasts. Saw a few coming in there. We appreciate it, but give us a little love because we're trying to build some momentum heading into the actual season. But we'll be back with you guys on Thursday. So enjoy your nights and whatever.